recording.
Okay.
So part of your homework that I want you to do though is
Yeah.
if you think you're getting passive income from the clinicians, because that's the team I thought you were talking about, because you said, oh, I'd still keep some people to support me,
Yeah.
right? So
You're
keep,
right. You're right. My brain just went all extreme. Like get rid of team means get rid of everyone.
right.
Everyone's
And that's
gone.
okay, right? But
Yeah.
but this is where the brain does these like weird things, right? So it's really good that you're seeing this. And so what happens is if your clinicians are costing you money at the end of the day, there's money that
Hmm.
you're paying them that you could then pay, like an admin to help you. But I would say, how much of that are you delegating to the clinicians?
Okay. Yes, I see. The only thing I'm delegating to the clinicians is seeing people, like clinical work.
Yeah. Which
There
then
are,
really they're
yeah,
getting paid for, that's costing you money.
yes.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, Chantal?
Yeah, of course.
So the clinicians, like you're saying you want to work like 11, I think I remember 11 hours a week. Yeah.
Yeah, although I'm not attached to that number per se. I just like I think 11 has allowed me to do all the other things and feel very flowy.
So you're delegating some of the hours to your clinicians. Are you working that 11 hours currently?
Like, am I seeing people for like 11? Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Um, how many hours are your clinicians seeing people? And if they left,
Uh,
would they keep seeing, would they take those people with them? Or would you be able to add just like 2 or 3 more hours on? You know what I'm asking? Does that make sense?
I know
And then
what
you
you're
get
asking.
100%.
Hmm.
Yeah. So would it be worth it to take on some of the work that they wouldn't take with them because you'd be getting 100% of that instead of paying them a
Yeah.
commission? I mean, a few
Hmm.
hours that, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's something to look at. And so, Chantel, one of the things that I would say is at the end of the day, you had even
Hmm.
said, I'm not really making passive income from the clinicians. They're costing me money. Now, the
Yeah.
homework is to figure out how much that is, right? Because you may not
Okay.
have to take on 2 or 3 more people, because if they're costing you a certain amount of revenue, that revenue is going to come back in, right? Like, because then you're not putting out an expense. So that expense money comes back into your pocket, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So the belief that you're bringing in passive income and that you're delegating things, when in fact, some of those clients you may or may not have seen, but they're costing you money to see clients.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
do a little looking on your numbers, but that's the masculine side. I want to go back to this, like this feminine side about belief. And I think you're having quite a bit of some awarenesses here around it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so that passive income and the delegation, like what would it, when you think about the tightness, the fear, the anxiety, it's tied to this. And I wonder too, how much it's tied to feeling, and let me know if this resonates with you, because I'm not asking questions at this point, but how much of it comes back to feeling like a failure because you don't have a team other than a marketing and admin person that are supporting you.
It's as you said that, what I appreciated is it just like lit up something else, which I think is going back to that core assumption that I can't do it and I don't know how. And so therefore, if I don't have a team, I'm not going to be able to figure it out on my own. That's the nerve it's hitting.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, if it's all on me, there's a part of me that's still like holding on to that core assumption of I don't know how to do this or I can't do it. And so if it's all on that person, oh boy, we're hooped,
Yeah. Which you already know is a lie, because
which
you've
I
been
already
doing
know
it.
is a lie.
Now, here's the thing that I want to go back to. And Shireen and Shauna, you too, like as you went through that you might have gone through some things with your team as you were walking down that path. You had said, here's what I get from having a team. I get encouragement, I get ease and I feel like I'm passing it on because it's not so heavy. I think we just kind of eliminated some of the heaviness, right? With
Mm,
this idea of the passive income delegating fear and anxiety, right? If I don't
hmm
have the team, and that you get creative inspiration. So tell me, where else can you get encouragement?
Well, lots of places like here, for instance, or I'm part of this new women's group that I'm really enjoying. They're super encouraging. My family, like John,
Yep.
my friends, there's lots of places.
Yeah. That group that you imagined before you were
Yeah,
imagining a team that supported you, right?
yeah.
Where can you get creative inspiration?
Um, all like nature, doing my yoga, listening to music, uh, watching things, learning,
Yeah.
conversation. I don't know, tons of places.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
And
even talking to somebody yesterday, and they were like, even how you do your report, like I have to do revenue reports, they're like,
hmm
make them fun, print them on colored paper, display them. And it's like, damn, didn't even think
Yeah.
about creativity and something I don't like
on
doing.
paper plates.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And where can you find ease?
Anywhere. I mean, it's like a perspective thing, really.
Yeah.
Um,
And where are you passing
yeah.
on what you know?
Where am I passing on what I know? I'm not sure if I understand the question, but to my clients, to my family, to whoever is open to listening to me, I suppose, or having a
Absolutely.
conversation with me.
Yeah. So those are the four things. Part of it was about heaviness, and we've kind of talked through
Yeah.
the, but you talked about here's what I'm getting from having a team.
Yeah.
Encouragement, ease, I'm passing on,
hmm
and I'm get creative inspiration.
Yeah.
You need a team to get all of those things.
I know. What?
Now, I'm not pushing you to get rid of your team. As a
Yeah.
business consultant, it's not a very sustainable model to have people working for you and it's costing you more money than bringing in passive income.
Yeah. Yes.
And
But
Debbie,
I
can
know.
you speak? Debbie and I spoke earlier. I'm trying to gather my thoughts around it, but I have in this year, I've been like, it feels a little bit what I'm hearing from you of like, but I just have to build it and I have to just, again, organize the puzzle pieces or bring in more clients, which is me bringing more homes. And so, Debbie, can you speak a little bit to how you're saying that that's not a sustainable model of this always like, to me, it came up as like, oh, what is the revenue I have? What can I sustain? Like build something around current reality and not the chase of like it's a
yeah.
never ending
So
costing run.
yeah, so in some industries, right, for Shauna, she makes more money the more homes she sells.
hmm
Right. So this model, this doesn't necessarily pertain directly to you, Shauna, although there's pieces of it that I'll get to here in a second. We like in the coaching industry for years, and I bought into this shit too. We've been told you want to make more money, go sell more. And I would say this does a little bit with Shauna in the relationship of it's all about sales. Now, I am all about sales because as entrepreneurs, we do make money from selling, right? But at the cost of what? And so that's not a sustainable business model in the respect of, I'll give you an example. I had a coach, and I'm sorry, Chantel, because you know who this coach is. I had a coach that I didn't ever really feel like there was a connection other than the fact whenever my contracts were up, like it was always about what's the next sale. And the message that I got was just go out and sell, sell, sell. All of your focus is on sales. Well, what happens if you don't build the relationship? Like I think about Shauna, she gets a lot of people that come back and list houses with her because she's awesome at building relationship. So it's
hmm
not a sustainable model. Like there's abundance out there, but at the cost of what? If you don't build relationship with people, and that coach is now not in business. And so if you all you're worried about is sell, 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 that's not sustainable. So if you think about a sailboat, right? A sailboat has a hull, it has a sail, and it has an anchor. Now, this metaphor works in a lot of different ways, right? There are certain things anchoring us down. And in Chantel's case, I would say having your clinician team is a little bit of an anchor, meaning you're gaining because you feel like you have an anchor holding you in, even though you're traveling everywhere, right? Like there's something to pull you back to home. But there's also this anchor of it's holding you back because you're not making any money, it's costing you money, and you're really not able to delegate to them because what you are delegating is costing you money. So then you have the whole, which are the foundations of your business, right? Your life's intentions, your standards of integrity. You have the core thing, like Shauna's business, her core thing is to help people with their life choices around building, having homes, right? Shireen, yours is around helping people have these great experiences, no matter if they're in
And
an
they're
Airbnb.
not in their home.
Right, right. Yeah, that's funny. And then Chantel, yours is helping empower young women to do life differently, right? Like to see their greatness. So when you look at that, that's the whole. And then the sale, I also use this with employees, right? Those are the employees that are like consistent, they're doing the job, they can do multiple things, they get you by. And then you have the sale that's the new shiny thing. Oh, I got to have a team or I'm going to fail. I'm going to be thought of as a failure if I don't have a team. I'm going to be a failure if I don't have 20 homes in my portfolio. I'm going to be a failure if I don't grow year after year after year after year in my net profit. Now, some people would say yes, because their success is for them. And that's why success is defined in a trillion different ways, because each of us have different motivations as to what that success looks like. And so ultimately, you can sail without an anchor and you can sail without a sail. You cannot sail without the boat.
Yeah.
The boat is the core of what you do. And if you do that, sometimes the wind will catch and a sail will appear, right? And you're moving forward at a fast pace. Other times, an anchor will appear in a belief or a system or something that's holding you back, or that's grounding you too, right? It depends. You can look at that as a couple of different ways. There might be a time of gestation that you need an anchor to help you like anchor in and figure out. So I use that boat metaphor, take what you like from it and leave the rest. But as a way to look at, it's not always like when I was in corporate, the whole philosophy was back in the 80s and 90s, particularly, well, it would have been 90s and early 2000s. It was everybody wants to be the CEO of the company. We got to develop people to get promoted, right? Everybody wants a promotion. Well, it's bullshit. Not everybody wants to be the CEO.
Well, and you also can't have 25 CEOs, so
Right.
it doesn't even work.
Right. Right. Yes. And the same thing. So like in your business model, that's why I talk about harmony, because, and this whole idea of the lit up life, how we're not just focusing on the business and the financial part of it, because you have to look at what do you want your life to look like? What do you want it to feel like? Now, if you want financial freedom, yes, then we have to look at finance and business. Finance, there's many different ways to make finances. Right. And that's why, too, I also talk about multiple streams of income and creating multiple streams of income if you choose to do that. Right. Like Chantel, you have a group program, you have your private practice. That's
And an online product now.
And an online product.
exactly. And you're
I'm
looking
so
at,
excited about that and to watch that.
you know, and as we meet on our one-on-one, I'm going to introduce you to some stuff too around live launches and stuff that I'm
Okay.
following this gal. But anyway, like, so when you're thinking about that, it allows you to pivot because you have multiple things. And this goes for real estate, this goes for Airbnb, this goes for psychology, right? And so when you think about your business model, you go back to your standards of integrity. I think about Shauna, and I don't remember the exact standard of integrity name of this, but like relationship is super important to Shauna. So if
Mm.
she's making the same amount she made last year, that may be, it may or may not, I don't know, may be okay in her mind because she feels like she has good relationships with her clients. She's going to get referrals back from them. She's going to get repeat business from them and her team, right? Like there's 2 or 3 different pieces in the pie. So Chantel, like right now, and Shireen, same thing for you. All of you are on kind of the same boat, right? Like, what is that core integrity of who you are and your role in this world? And then it's about uncovering, is a team necessary for what I want to do, or is it holding me back? And that might be a question that you resonate on, Chantel. And I think you kind of maybe have your answer. It still
Mhm.
feels tight and fear and anxious because
And
finding.
yeah, I don't know. I'm also getting like the download that like excitement and fear feel the same way in the body, and recognizing that.
Yeah. And recognizing that what you thought you were getting from the team, you very well could be getting encouragement, ease,
Yeah.
creative inspiration, but those things can be found elsewhere. And you do have them elsewhere.
Yeah. Hmm.
And
Yeah.
what you might find is that there's a little bit more freedom because for some reason, when I was walking you all through this meditation, I wrote down yoke/freedom, right? Like this polarity of almost feeling like it's a yoke around your neck. You were talking about a heaviness
Mm-hmm.
versus having freedom.
Yeah.
And the
Hmm.
word responsibility kept popping. Like, I'm wondering if you feel responsible for these people. And then there's some tension around that. Because I experience you as wanting a lot of personal freedom right now.
Hmm.
Um, and that the team may be showing up as a responsibility.
That you need to make happen. You use those
Mhm.
words.
Yeah.
Also, are you concerned about like dissolving your team and the people, like what Shireen has gone through in the last month, like setting people free? Does that cause you anxiety and stress?
Yeah, there's definitely discomfort with that. Yes. Yeah. And I can hear the chatter because it's like, okay, Tara, we let go of Tara. And it was like, I know it was the right thing. And also like it felt uncomfortable. It's like, oh, I have to do that like 3 more times.
Yeah. And Chantel, here's the deal. One, if we ever feel comfortable doing that, then we're in the wrong business, right? Because we love people. And secondly,
Hmm.
there might be an and alternative here, right? Like
Yeah.
you have one clinician that has a decent schedule and has a decent filled up book. Maybe it becomes, hey, I'll rent you my space at this much per month,
Hmm.
right? Because you're not using the space, but if you still want a space to come back to, and then they're paying the cost of that space, right?
Yeah.
I had that same thought, but slightly different. Is there somebody that could become the you in the group,
Hmm.
and then you become more the I don't know how you like somebody, there might be somebody in your group that really wants to kind of build a practice and do the on-site thing and mentor
Hmm.
the other therapist, like kind of take your role. And then
Hmm.
I wonder what it would look like if then you were almost like the contract person that
Right.
could come and go. And it could be a negotiation on a time, while I'm away, would you step into this role? It could be permanently. Are you interested in this role?
Hmm.
So they're kind of doing that anyway, because yes, and thank you, Shreen, because there's really no role. The role is you're trying to be the glue to put this team together. And
Hmm.
with the model that you have today, what Shireen's talking about won't work,
Hmm.
right? Because you're getting paid based on the number of clients that they see versus a monthly stipend of, okay, here's how much you owe me. if you had a full
Yeah.
schedule. So there's no motivation for them to fill their schedule.
Right.
Right. So what Shireen's talking about could absolutely happen with the one gal, I forget her name, that has the full schedule, right? Like it could just be, here's a full schedule. Here's what you're going to pay me monthly.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I come back
What
in,
if-
I'm going to use the
And I'm
space.
not saying this, Chantel, because I'm not involved
Yeah.
enough, but so I'm talking more
Yeah.
like from a me perspective. And what if there is, and don't take this personally, what if there is somebody that motivates them more or gets them
Mhm.
or could be more like, look, you got to do this or you're out. Like there could be because I've thought about that with my company. Like I don't like those roles. And so
Mhm.
there's other people that can do it well. And so do I, like
Yeah.
back in the day, Adrian, and he's like, oh, you need an interpreter. And I was like, yes, I just want to say my stuff my way to somebody. And then that somebody goes and says it the right way, you know, right's kind of a off word, but so that's all I mean is maybe somebody
Mhm.
could hold the line in a different position than you that would get it producing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Chantel, I want to kind of wrap this part up because I think we've asked enough questions and I think you're having some awareness that your teacher within is going to
Yeah.
solve for this. Make sure if you're not signed up in my calendar for January that you are signed up sooner than later so that we can
Okay.
do some more of this and reach out and continue to reach out as you're making this decision. But just to recap, the passive income is not true. It's not
Yep.
passive income, it's passive expense.
Yep.
It's active expense from like
Active expense,
Thank you.
actively draining my
yes,
account.
those people you owe it to don't let you just pass it on
Yeah.
by. They
Thank you,
come back.
Shireen, for that correction. And you're really not delegating to anyone. You would still keep your marketing and admin person over here, but you're not delegating to anyone that's a clinician, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be referring because your book is full,
Mhm.
but there are other people you can refer to, and you would still refer to them probably, even if they're not working for you, right?
And maybe get a referral
Absolutely.
fee.
Yeah, and a referral fee. I like that idea, Shireen.
Because in real estate, I think
And
it's-
then you can find encouragement, ease, and creative inspiration elsewhere. Yeah.
Great. Wonderful recap. Thank you, everyone.
And last question I had, when does your lease expire? Like,
I'd love to know this. Probably, I
that would
think it's
be a good
March.
piece of information
Yeah,
just
I'm gonna
to
get that.
because that's a moment that it's a clear opportunity to stay in or get out.
Yeah. Kate, I'm putting that as another homework.
Yeah.
It'd be good to know.
Debbie,
'Cause-
sorry, I know I can listen to the recording. Do you happen to, what was my first piece of homework? Do you know?
Was to look at your numbers and see how much they are costing you. Because if it's costing you a few $100 a month, that's money you could pay to your admin or your marketing person, right?
Okay. Yeah,
For yourself.
thank you.
For yourself, yes.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Shireen or Shauna? Shauna, how's your mama?
My mom is doing remarkably well.
And how are you?
Mm.
It's been, I am better today because yesterday, every year I take one night when my husband is gone to his fire board meeting and I get myself a hot toddy and I turn off every light in the house except the Christmas lights. And I turn on the Christmas music and I sit there and do like a review of my year. And so I did that last night and yeah, and then he came home and we sat and talked for like 2 more hours, which was really, really good. But my mom's just doing like, they took those things out of her head and she had really slurry speech. And I kept thinking that she'd been having like mini strokes or something. Her speech is so clear. She's so much, I wish that her hands didn't shake because she is so much back to like a normal person, except for her poor little arm just goes flying all over. Anyway, she's doing great. Thank you for asking.
And so you said you were doing better today than you were yesterday, and you said you reviewed your year and then had a 2-hour conversation. You're like, oh, I thought I slid right past that.
Um, I have been overwhelmed. I mean, I don't even know how else to put it. This whole thing with her, the mess she made of her finances that falls on, that I feel like continues to fall on us every month. And I, I don't want to be, I don't want to, I feel so greedy or so selfish saying this, but like handing her dollars every month, I, even though it's not a significant amount, it adds up to a significant amount. And it causes me stress because, my husband's 68. So, that her medical issues, we have 3 of our rental units sitting, not making any money right now because we're remodeling 2 of them. And the other one, we made a conscious choice to let not make money for a few months. Just a whole bunch of stuff. Real estate has been really crappy the last couple of months. Anyway, I've just been so stressed and so overwhelmed, and I've just felt myself sliding back to about 3 years ago. And I wanted to cry, but I knew that if I started crying, I would maybe never stop. Anyway, last night I just sat down and I went through my journals and stuff. And I found when I started that Badass 365 group with Angie. And I just sat there. It was like kind of late. And I was like, I don't give a shit. And I just sent her this message, and I sent her these 2 pictures that I have from when I crossed the finish line of the 5K, which was at that point in time the scariest, hardest thing I ever did. And I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like one of my most cherished photos. And anyway, it just kind of brought things back into perspective. And then talking to Ricky about my concern of going backwards. Because I've never really liked that person that I was, that, so tight. And anyway, it was just good. And today I feel like, and we'll talk about that late at our meeting today, but I haven't been able to do any goals this year, which is so not me. I usually have my goals done by the 1st of November because I'm so excited about them. And I have not had one goal yet. So anyway, I feel better this morning. It was kind of a purging, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Shauna, I think it's beautiful though too that within like an hour you were like, whoa, I don't, because I haven't seen you slide back. As a matter of fact, I've seen you open up to the feminine. And that might feel a little odd to you because the masculine is all about the goals and the doing, right?
Yeah.
And I've actually seen a huge progression. It just may not feel the same way
Yeah.
as the action orientated items. But what I really find is beautiful about that is you're catching yourself and saying, wait, I don't want to be that person 30 years ago. And the trick or the art to this is not getting caught up in thinking that you're going that direction almost as like a sabotage where then it lowers your vibration because this feels different.
Right. Which is what it's been doing. I keep looking at the energy I'm putting out there and thinking, well, no wonder my real estate business is shit. My energy has been shitty. So, yeah.
And has your energy really been shitty or is it just
not.
Oh, no. Yes. It has been bad. Like, not good. Not good at all. It's been very negative. But because I've been angry. I mean, I sat down yesterday morning in my journal and I just thought, I'm not going to work until I put all of this down on a piece of paper. And I just wrote everything that I was angry about. Just everything that I was angry about. And it was 2 pages worth of things I was angry about. But I felt better after I wrote it down. There's some of them I can't do anything about. There's some of them I can. And so.
And then also, because I feel like I've been a little bit in that range too, but I've also is angry bad energy? Because what if that's exactly, I mean, think about it a minute. Because if there could almost be a flip that when it's all happy-go-lucky, that's actually the bad energy because you're not allowing reality or the true you to come to the surface. And I could see why you would call that good energy, but I've gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, letting all that bubble up and out is actually in some exercise like you did with Chantel, like, is that true? Is it not true? Because sometimes I'm angry about things that aren't even true.
Mhm.
So I would argue that's very good, healthy, wonderful energy. Food for thought.
That's uncomfortable energy.
Sure. But only, I would also put on there only because I think you're judging it. Like if you had no, because you're by yourself, like you're doing this, like nobody's judging you in the moment. I'm assuming you're not having major outbursts in the middle of your office and knocking people out or, anything like that.
And I would actually say, Shireen, there is someone judging,
Mm,
which is Shauna's critical parent in her head.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. If you can let that go or
But what
quiet
happens for you?
it,
It's the same journey. What happens for you if you let that go?
If I let go of the judging,
No, the anger. And what I mean by, like, I agree, anger is healthy, but we're not usually taught how to handle anger, and that's seen as a bad thing. But like, what happens if you let go of being angry, which then leads to judgment? Because those two things go hand in hand.
so if you let go, so I want to make sure I understand, I guess. So if you just let go of it and be like, it's okay to be angry, or if you're like, I'm just not angry anymore, which one of those?
Both.
Well, I'm just not angry anymore. That's it. That my being doesn't work that way. I have to like work my way through it, you know? Um,
And Shauna, when you work yourself through anger, do you find yourself picking up something else to be angry about?
no, I don't think so. No, it's just a whole bunch of stuff that just like has, like I'm angry that my mom's sick. I'm angry that I'm the one that's like responsible for all of it. I'm angry that, like, one of the things Randy and I talked about last night is that I'm angry that I feel so alone in this, even though I'm not. But in the end, Coleman's here to help. Randy's here to help. My brother has lots of opinions that he Googles, but he's not really here to help. But in the end, the responsibility and the final decisions on the small things that she can't make the decisions on end up on me, regardless of all of the help I get, right? And the other people's input. And that makes me angry because I feel like that shouldn't fall all on my shoulders. And there's nothing I can do about her having her health issues. That just is what it is. It's not her fault that she has tremors. And but it doesn't, and I just work my way through it. I mean, to acceptance, I think, which I did last night until I get angry about it again because it's a big struggle, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something in the responsibility piece too, right? Like,
So much in the responsibility piece.
and part of
Responsibility.
where I'm going with that, and you and I can talk because I think we have a meeting in a half an hour, but is to what does responsibility equal for you? Like, do you feel needed? Do you feel valued? Like, because what happens is when we stay in a behavior, and I get it too, because you and I've talked, and Shireen, one of the things, and Chantel, that we talked about was it is hard because it's your mom. You don't want her to be homeless. You don't want to, you don't want to kick her to the curb. But is there an over responsibility that's happening? And I don't know if there is or not, Shauna, I'm just bringing these up, that because you feel valued or needed, like we gain something sometimes from being responsible, from doing some things that we don't necessarily want. And so kind of chew on that for a half an hour and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I really wish you would have been here because we need to do an anger project together. You gotta scream. You need to scream into a pillow, like close that door over there and grab a pillow and just scream.
I was
I
gonna do
said
that
that in
on
my
the way
car.
home last night and I didn't. I started to pull over and then I'm like, I'm really not that angry right at this very minute. Yesterday
Mm.
morning, I could have done it and I didn't have time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And here's what I would say, Shauna, if you get the urge, do it because the anger's still there. What's interesting when I work with people through anger is they'll be clenching the steering wheel and they're like, I'm not angry. Or they'll be kicking their foot up and down with their leg crossed and they're like, I'm not angry. Right. Or like the body movements, like you may not feel it at the moment in your head because you kind of work through some things in your head. Ask me how I know, right? Like you work through it and you're like, oh, this is okay. And then 10 minutes later, you're like, fire effer right in front of me, right? Like I always know when I need an anger project because I'm yelling at the people driving around me that can't hear me. And so like kind of notice some of those, even because if you're feeling the urge, listen to the universe on that, listen to God, because he's saying like, let it go, even when it doesn't feel like you're in the moment. So yeah, we might have to go grab a pillow and have you scream.
Shauna's driving with a pillow in her car from now on.
And well, if you don't have a pillow, the muffled, although you'd have to be, somewhere where you could be hands-free for a quick moment, the muffled scream works uber well. And my 11-year-old coached me to do it yesterday when I was feeling angry. He's like, Mom, why don't you do that thing? So you just put this like right in front of your mouth and you just like scream into it.
Yeah.
That works really well.
And if you're
No
home
pillow
alone,
required.
All the time.
and if you're home alone, let the scream happen, man.
a room in our office it was a bathroom and it's upstairs and there's no heat and it's dark. There are no windows. There's a shower in there and a toilet in there that don't work. And at some point a mirror fell and it's broken. And we don't even use it for storage. Amanda puts her Christmas gifts in it. And we call it the cry room. We always tell everybody, oh, just go up to the cry room. You're talking about this. And I'm thinking, oh, the people will hear me in the cry room screaming.
Oh, that's funny. Well, Shireen, I know we didn't get to do a check-in. We will do.
We did one, I think I was last week, deep dive or whatever. I feel good.
Okay. And I'm anxious or I'm excited. I was told the other day, quit using the word anxious because that's actually like it means that you're worried about something versus I'm eager to hear kind of how things have been going for you. So okay. And then we will be on the phone tomorrow at 8 a.m. and I'll see you then.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day.
You too.